Hey everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you happen to be from. Hey, it's John, and we're waiting again for Yafat to log in because she has been cursed with the Google, some sort of weird Google virus, I think that's going around. I'm kidding. There's not really a virus going around, but she's on a PC, so I can't feel sorry for her. I'm a Mac guy. This could completely be the fact that PCs really suck. But anyway, we're back for day number 4 of our Google Hangout, and she'll be on in just a couple of seconds. So you guys hang with us. And we've got some great questions and answers and feedback from you guys before we dive into the content. But just to refresh you on what's going on today, we're going to be talking about a little bit of an extension of what we talked about yesterday, which is how to make your first dollar online. And we covered some of these techniques yesterday, but I'm going to elaborate on them. I'm going to give you sources to go to. I'm going to give you a page that I've created so that you can kind of follow along as a template to go for what we're going to be talking about today. And we're just going to be talking about basically the concept of, again, this was mentioned yesterday, but we're going to elaborate on it, the concept of getting the first points on the board. So many people ask me, how do I get started? I've got this big product or this book or this service, and it's very difficult. And if you're having some of that friction to getting started, then this will solve that, because it's going to take that big stuff away from you and get you to kind of major in the minors for a little bit. In other words, get a lower dollar product going on and get that thing happening before you get this other stuff happening. So that's what we're going to do. And we're going to dive in here in just a few minutes. But first of all, I just want to thank everyone for the incredible feedback that we're getting for these Hangouts. I was answering every single comment, everyone that I possibly could answer. And I just be honest with you, I kind of gave up. I mean, it got to be to where there was like too many of them to answer. So it's not that I'm ignoring you. It's just that, wow, I just don't have time to answer all of them. And I didn't want a robot or a fake me to go in there and answer them. So as I find the time, I will go in there and answer. And when I say answer, a lot of it's just saying, thank you. Oh, great. I appreciate it. So just know ahead of time that if you said something awesome, thank you. I appreciate it. I was going in there literally and answering every one of them because I would appreciate that if I were you. But so the time has kind of been muted out a little bit because of it's a lot to get prepared for these kind of things. So I hope you guys understand. And the questions is a different story. The extremely pressing questions, Yafat and I will go through and we will pick them in. I think she's now joined us, which is great. Are you there, Yafat? That's the question. Are you there?
I am. Can you hear me?
Awesome. Awesome. We
Yay.
have we have you. There could be another lag going on today. I don't know what's going on. It could be the weekend traffic. I don't know how it's everything working okay over there.
I think so, right? I'm synced.
Yeah, you're synced. You're it's a little bit of a lag, but that's okay. So awesome. Maybe you want to start with the questions or feedback or whatever we were going to do today on your
Yes.
agenda. Okay.
So, hey guys. So today we have a few really, really cool things. Yesterday we had a great winner for 6 ways to monetize Hangouts for a really awesome comment. Today we have an even better gift for you. And John and I have been kind of brainstorming, trying to figure out what would be a great, what would be an action that is worthy of that gift. So, John, why don't you tell them about the gift because it's really awesome, and then you guys in the comments let us know what do you think would be, what kind of action you guys need to do in order to win that.
Okay, so the gift that we're talking about is a book that I wrote last year that got a lot of critical acclaim, and it's all about email. And it's all about specifically all these 21 tactics that I've used throughout my careers, 11 years as an email marketer, to help you guys create massively productive emails. We've made millions off emails, and there are systems for that. There are tricks for that, literally tricks, things that are kind of groovy to do. Some are complex, some are very simple. Most of them are pretty simple. And I wrote a book that was very reflective of my personality, and I was going through a weird phase in my life at the time. I'll use that as an excuse. So it's a very bizarre, funny, R-rated in places, aggressive, very much like myself book, and that a lot of people really love because of the personality. And I wanted to give it away. It's called Open Click Buy, which is the 3 things you want people to do with your email. When you want to open it, you want to click on a link, and you want somebody to buy something. So that's a pretty cool title, if you ask me. And we're going to be giving that away. That book sells for $47, and we're going to give it away to someone that earns the right to have it and can tolerate the aggressive nature of the book, because it is in your face, funny, curt, very much opinionated, of course. But I'll give you a little hint of what it's about. I believe there is a coming apocalypse, and I don't mean as in the end of the world literally. I mean an information apocalypse because of all the bombardment of crap that you get in your inbox every single day. And because of that, marketers need to adapt to that coming apocalypse. Otherwise, you're just going to be dust in the wind. So as the old song says, you're never going to last. So the cut and paste email stuff, the trite email stuff, the boring, very non-complimentary to your personality email stuff, it's all going to die. The only people that's going to survive this apocalypse are those with a voice. And I don't mean a voice like mine, like my literal voice. I mean a voice, something that has, someone who has something to say that other people want to hear. And this book expands on that. Pretty much encourages you to take the hold of the reins and really be strong with your voice. Even if your voice is opinionated, even if your voice will alienate other people, that's fine. That's okay. Because I'd rather have raving fans and other people going, oh, I wouldn't listen to that guy for anything, than have everyone kind of lukewarm. So that's the mentality of the book. Plus, it gives you all the tips. So we're going to give that away. If I haven't built it up enough, let me know. And there's lots of stuff about monkeys in there. So just I like monkeys. So.
That is true. And guys, if you want to know how good that book is, I just started reading it. I never read introductions. That book got me to read the introduction because there's one word in there that actually gets you into the introduction, which is perfect. The other really awesome thing is that the information in there will give you like just the 2 words that you need to put in your emails in order to have them open and get action on them. So it's action-packed. It's really, really great. And I love the humor. I really, really do love the humor because you go through all the rules and then you say something that is, I'm not going to ruin it for you guys, but it's perfect. So how can you win this book? Let us know in the comments. Yeah, John.
Yeah, you guys are going to tell us what you have to do to win this book. In other words, what do you think needs to be done? Originally, we were going to say, well, and we're going to give out super mega points for people who actually, when we're ready for it, when you're ready, we're not quite ready there, but we're getting there pretty close. We're ready to actually let you in on the deal that we've got for Sellerator, which, yeah, we're going to do something like that. So if that bothers you, then sign off now, or you can hang out for the free content. It's up to you. But when we do that, you're going to get like gobs of points, and then we're going to figure out something else really cool to do with that. So anyway, it's going to be a lot of fun, and I think it's going to be up to you on what you think is worthy of that. And so it's kind of a fun little game to play. You Fat, I'll give it over to you.
Yeah, so guys, recap a little bit about yesterday. Yesterday was so filled with good content. And I was going through the Hangout again yesterday. I was listening to the entire Hangout, and I actually took minute-by-minute notes because it was so packed with great information that if you only apply what John taught you in the last 3 days, you guys are going to make the first dollar online. That's like, there's no doubt. The only thing that you're going to be missing is, a converting sales copy, which we're getting to. So today we are talking about, let's see if that works. Let's see. Ta-da! Your first dollar online. How do you make your first dollar online? This is the topic of our day, of our Hangout today. I'm seeing a lot of comments coming in, saying hi and welcome and sharing. Thank you so much. If you want, if you have any questions, if you ever struggled with making money online at all, the next 20 minutes you can come in and ask John any questions. But before that, make sure you download the worksheet, and we're going to go through that a little slower today and help you fill out all the missing points. So let's dive into content.
Awesome. Let's go. Okay, so if you're looking at your worksheet, you're going to see number 1, to supplement your income. This is a way to supplement your income. So let me just be very clear. If anyone out there is listening that's a medium to high level advanced marketer, some of this stuff isn't going to be applicable to you except for the fact that I'm going to give you some templates. So you might want to stick around for that, because my $7 template, which was a modification of what Ryan Dice did. Ryan Dice basically ripped off my entire VSL formula. He didn't really. He just did a VSL course about it and then came back and did a really funny video where he says, I just completely ripped John off. So I figured, hey, turnabout's fair play. I took his $7 formula for a written text letter and just modified it and changed some stuff, and I think made it better. And then they did the same thing back and forth. Anyway, this works very, very well. I'm going to give you a link, just one of the many pages that we use this for, and that way you can just look through there, see the segments, and you can see how we did it. We're not going to dissect it because we don't have time, but we're going to be talking about supplementing your income, and I'm going to give you some sources for like an email drop. In other words, if you want to rent a list, I don't make any money from this at all. I don't make a dime for anything I'm going to be sharing with you today. I'm going to give you lots of resources over the next 2 days, as a matter of fact, including a whole library tomorrow of books that I think that you would find very helpful. So let's start by the very first topic, to supplement your income. What I want you to do is think about creating a mini product, a mini version of your product, and sell it for like $7. $7 is kind of the magical number. You can test $4.95, you can test $7.95. We've tested all sorts of variations, and you should. But basically, you want to stay under that $10 range, $7. That's a front-end product. It's called a Tripwire. And most people call it a tripwire, because what's happening is you're buying something and it acts as a tripwire. You're walking into a minefield of other things to buy. So, but if you don't, let's pretend that you don't have anything else right now to sell. That's okay. That's perfectly okay. Let me tell you a story, a very brief one. My third or fourth book, I can't remember which one it was a book that I ended up selling to somebody else because I only wanted one diet book. The book was called Simply Eat, 5 Simple Steps to Make Any Diet 5 Times Easier. And I kind of kicked myself for selling that because I sold the rights for like 50 grand to somebody else, and they only did it in German, which was really interesting. So it's not even available in the United States. But that book did really, really well. I didn't know how well. I was still kind of wet behind the ears even after that many books, because it was about my second year in marketing, and I just said, hey, I want to see if I can write a book from start to scratch in a week, literally in a week, including the marketing, including everything. So my sales page, this was right before Video Sales Letters, wasn't the greatest sales page in the world. It was good enough. But what I did that made this a real hit is that I said, for 5 days, I'm going to sell this book for $5, because it's 5 steps to make the diet 5 times. So there's all this 5 step coming up. No one was doing $7 products back then. This was, well, obviously no one was doing them as a tripwire. That phrase wasn't even around back then. I didn't have a back end for this. I didn't have anything that you would buy after it. I had no funnel at all. And just for my existing list, I ended up making a great deal of money just from that promo. Everyone wanted a $5 book. So at the time, all of my list was exposed to a $39.95 book, a $97 audio program, and then this book. This was the third. I just remembered. It was the third. So they only had access to like $39 and above, and then all of a sudden there's a $5 product. So a lot of people on a list that you may have, and if you don't have a list, don't worry, I'm going to tell you where you can get one, believe it or not, will respond to a low dollar offer. So I'm encouraging to write a $7 offer and play around with the price, and just bear in mind that you don't need a back end. Just get your first dollar online. So again, this is the football analogy of you're marching downfield, you can't score against a tough defense. If you don't know the game of football, that's okay, because you can follow this anyway. You need to put points on the board. So even if it's kicking a field goal and getting 3 points, it gives your team momentum to keep going forward. Likewise, you need to get that first dollar in the bank. So sign up at clickbank.com. ClickBank's a very easy way to do this. They handle the affiliates. You've got instant access to a lot of affiliate networks, and just create a super cheap product. It can be very inexpensive, like $7. You know, it can be 10, 20 pages long, just a condensed version of the product. And when I show you the sales page for one of the products that we created like this, you'll see what I'm talking about. We actually use the fact that it's not that long, it's not that much, it's easy to find information. We actually use that as a selling point. And when you see that, you're going to go, oh, that's a really good idea. I think you'll say that, and you'll probably want to copy it. So that's point number one. So again, football analogy, you just need to get points on the board. And the good thing about the $7 products is they're just amazing way to get started fast and simple. That's the whole thing. Get this thing started fast and simple. So the second thing I'd like you to consider is to get paid to deliver your content. Again, we mentioned some of this yesterday, but I'm going to give you some specific resources right now. Here's how you can get paid to do this. First of all, you can rent an email list. Renting a list is a little bit different. Yafat, have you ever heard of people renting email lists? Is that like in the Google Plus community, do people talk about renting lists?
We never actually, no, never rent a list. And there was a question actually the other day asking about the legality of renting lists. How
Okay.
legal is it to rent one? So
Completely, yeah, completely legal to rent a list, not to buy a list. Buying list, forbidden. Don't ever do that. No matter what you do, renting a list is a business model that everyone is totally fine with. So all you're doing is saying, does my offer fit a specific list that the list owner has, and the list owner mails that out. You don't mail it out. So it's
makes sense.
completely legal to do this. And the best company that I know of is owned by a friend of mine. His name is Brian Littman, and you might want to check that out. Dedicatedemails.com is the name of it. Dedicatedemails.com. Again, I don't make any money. If you say John sent you, they'll say great. They will give you a break. But it's a great way to get a list when you don't have a list. Now you can rent a list drop for 5,000 emails, 100,000 emails, whatever you want to send out. Of course, the more you send out, the more money it costs. But the whole thing is you need to get a list. A list is where the gold is. Remember, a quality list is worth roughly here or about $1 per name per month. So you want to get that list going, and a lot of people just say that that's their biggest hangup. Now, we covered yesterday how I created a 40,000 person list without spending a dime to do it. Definitely do that. This is where you will have to spend some money to do it, but it's worth the money if you have a compelling offer. Again, compelling offer is the underscore, wow, I really have to have sales copy. So even though I'm going to show you a sales page, if you were to copy it word for word, you'd probably miss a lot of stuff. And obviously, if you copy it word for word, Google's going to come down on you for that. But the point is you need a sales page. You need a video sales letter. You need sales copy. We're going to be talking a lot about that day 6 through 10, obviously, because I'm going to give you the whole steps for the VSL formula. Now, in that,
Hold on a second.
yeah,
So
sure.
this is actually a very interesting strategy. I think the biggest fear is taking the first step and failing. And this one, and especially failing in front of people who know you, like your own subscribers. It sounds like this technique is kind of like taking the fear away, going like, okay, let me just test it with an audience that doesn't know me, doesn't even hear about me because they referred through someone else that they trust, and I pay them to basically just test my offer. And then this is a really easy way to then have conversions, to have all the matrix and actually know what you need to improve and how to improve that.
Right, yeah, it is. And the trick to the email list thing is that you've got to go with a reputable company, which is why I gave you that one. There are probably other companies out there. That's just the one that I know of that's definitely reputable and definitely will work. And they'll definitely shoot straight with you. They'll look at your page and go, nah, that's not going to work. Or, yeah, that may work. That may work real well. So one idea is to send that list drop to a $7 offer. Here's another idea that will build you a higher dollar product that you can sell. We again touched base on this a little bit, but I'm getting more specific. So what you would want to do in this particular case is you send out an email. Granted, it's an investment, so let's say that you spend $1,000. I'm just making that up. And you spend $1,000, you send out X amount of emails, and you drive all this traffic. It's targeted, by the way. Let's say that you have a weight loss offer, and you're sending, it could be any offer, but you're sending that weight loss offer to an opt-in page. Now, this is great about an email list is they don't care where you send it. You can send it to a squeeze page, opt-in page, whatever you want to do. And in that, on that opt-in page, what you have is you offer them a free bonus. That's in the little slot, so write that down. A free bonus for opting in. Get my free special report, plus attend my free live webinar on blank. Special report plus a live webinar. The words live webinar, I often change to live interactive workshop. And that's not on the list, but that's what I would change that to, live interactive workshop, where I'll take your questions live. It's a very touchy-feely kind of thing, and people love that. Very much like you guys are here on this Hangout. We've got all these viewers because people want to be interacting with me, and that's cool. That's what you can do here. Now you can use GoToWebinar for that. You can use Webinar Jam. You can also, which is not a blank on here, sorry, you fat, but it is true, you can use Google Hangouts for this as well. So yeah, those are I can say now the three, because I had never used Google Hangouts before when I prepared this, but now that I have, I can say, yeah, Google Hangouts, it does work. And the other resource that you would want to look at is Lead Pages, leadpages.net. Clay did a great job with Lead Pages. So like a big concern for people is like, well, okay, I'm looking at this page, how do I produce it, how do I get it done, and things of that nature. If you guys will write down this URL, I just put this page live yesterday. I was able to write the sales copy for it in a day, in less than a day, and then get it live without having my coder or HTML guy touch it at all. I mean, at all. The only thing that he did was, well, I take that back. The only thing he did was build the actual form, the credit card form, which is built one time, and I just link it to that page. It's very easy to change. And if you guys will write down this URL, I'll give it to you. Or Yafat, if you can, if there's a chat, you can put it in here. And by the way, this isn't to try to get you to buy this product. It's to get you to look at what can be done in lead pages. And it's a long-form sales letter that I'm going to turn into a video sales letter because I literally had less than 24 hours to do this. So I just typed it out and typed it right into lead pages, and we'll type it into a doc and then put it, cut and paste it into lead pages. But to show you that the page is actually very simple. It's very pretty. There's no graphics because you don't need them. Okay. So the page is Sellerator. Sellerator.com/, okay, ready for this? Capital upsell, capital UPSELL, capital formula, capital FORMULA.html. So the reason why that link is clunky is because, again, I only had less than 24 hours to do it. So no, it has to be case right. So it's upsell formula, capital U, capital F only. If you do all caps, it won't go there. So let's change that. .html has to be there as well. So Yafat's going to put that in the chat link. But I sprung this on her. She had no idea I was going to do this. I had no idea I was going to do it. Otherwise, I would have put it into the form. But I want to show you. Please stay here with me if you do this. Open up a new window, otherwise you'll go bye-bye. So for me, that's correct. And if you really want to be safe, you can put HTTPS in front of that, which is just a secure socket layer link. So anyway, that shows you what you're capable to do with lead pages. So I have a lead pages account. I could literally have typed that into lead pages if I wanted to, and just put it up with all I have to have is an FTP access, or you don't even need that with lead pages. You can have them host the site for you. So you literally don't even need a server. So I'm giving you some tools that make it as easy as humanly possible to do this. You don't need a long sales page like that. I'm going to give you a link to another page in just a moment that I did for the $7 page, and you'll see that it's much shorter. There's more graphics involved, and we didn't use lead pages for this, but you can see what any programmer or coder can do this page for you for $100 on odesk.com or Elance. Very cheap. Okay, so you're going to send people to an opt-in page. You're going to give them a free bonus plus a free interactive live workshop on the topic that you're interested in. Then you're going to record this interactive live workshop using ScreenFlow or Camtasia. Those are the two software packages I recommend. If you're a PC guy, Camtasia. If you're a Mac, by all means use ScreenFlow. It's so much better than Camtasia. And once you record this, the good thing is guess what? You've got a product. You're recording it literally as you go. That's your product. And with very little editing, you've got a series of videos, and you'll have slides. If you're on Google Hangouts, you'll have a video. If you're on GoToWebinar or Webinar Jam, you'll either have a video or slides, just simple PowerPoint slides. But you've got the content all there. That's all people care about. They don't need it to look beautiful. They need the information. Give me the info, as Dr. Evil said, right? That's what they need. So this is what's going to get it to you very quickly and very rapidly. I've been paid many, many, many times to create a product, including the product that I just sent you to, the upsell formula. I had half of it done, and the other half is going to be a live interactive workshop called Upsell Domination. That was the big part of the product that I think sold people on the idea. And by the way, just so you know, that page is getting 10% conversions and a $17 click-through rate. So everyone who clicks, I make $17. That's a lot, by the way. A $17 EPC is really, really high. So that's what you can do with a simple sales page and a low end. This is not a low end offer; it's a medium end offer for us, $197. But this is exactly what I do. So literally, I'm telling people, you get to help me make this product, so I'm giving it to you at a discount, and I really am giving it to them at a discount. Now, check this out. I'm looking over here at my notes in case you wonder why I'm looking this way. Throughout the webinar, it's a very good idea that, unlike a video sales letter, you don't have to do this. A video sales letter is even more powerful, but a webinar will get this done for you very, very quickly. I use my VSL formula in a webinar. In other words, the 5 steps that we'll cover days 6 through 10 is exactly what I'd use to create a webinar. The only difference is interaction. And as Yafat will tell you, I'm so used to teaching, I have to remind myself, oh, should I ask Yafat, hey, what do you think about that? So you've had, what do you, so the only difference is interaction. That's extremely important to do. So here's the best way to interact is you stop right in the middle every 5 minutes, just stop and go, hey, did that make sense? If that made sense to you, type yes into the chat box. I'm just going to look over here in questions box and, oh wow, look at all these yeses, or in the chat box in Google Hangout or whatever, all these people saying yes. Why do we want them to say yes? Do I have to explain it? Because they say yes over and over again. It's called agreeance, and when you get to the point where they say, okay, now will you pay me this money, the more obvious answer is yes. And this engages.
Is actually going back to day one, where you got the nodding effect, where you want people to keep nodding as they read your copy.
Yes. yeah, exactly. So the nod effect, I also call it, we had a question about this, I also call this the yes reflex. So this is not in your notes. Again, I always give more content than planned, so take some furious notes, guys. The yes reflex, what is that? I don't know if you're aware of this, but you are programmed to say the word no. And you've been programmed to say the word no since you were a little baby. Now, you can probably say more than I can. I don't have children. I know that you do. How many more times do you say the word no to your child than yes?
Oh my God, I have to consciously be aware of, and I've tried to move away from the no to the positive reinforcement, but it's so automatic. It's just like, no. So yeah, all the time.
My wife right now is dog sitting. We have an awesome dog. Well, actually, we think it's a horse. We're not sure. We thought we bought a dog, but it's turning into a horse. And yeah, the dog's already as tall as my wife, and he's 7 months old. So it's like when he stands up on, and his name's Titan. Anyway, the point is that when we talk to Titan, it's like kind of like a child. We're like, no a lot, and then yes occasionally. Well, it's the same thing with children, only times 1,000, right? And so you've heard the word no around 700 times more than you've heard the word yes. That's a good guess, according to psychologists. 700-time differential. So when you're watching something, even something like this, to where all the logical part of you is saying, wow, this makes total sense. There's this little no response going on the inside, like, no, it's scary. No, lizard finds this scary. Monkey brain finds this, me climb tree, eat banana. We don't want this. And especially true when it comes to a sales page. It's like, you need, for example, like you need a copywriting tool, and yet when you read even the most persuasive sales page, you can have the tendency to say no, even when you want to say yes. So I call this the yes reflex. Great copy gets a yes reflex. It turns the prospect of saying yes from kind of drudgery to exactly like what happens when you hit the bottom part of your knee, your leg kicks up. It's a reflex, and it basically triggers that reflex to where someone says yes. And there are words that do that. There are words that get cash, as I call them, that do that very effectively, and they're in every single sales page, and they're of course throughout Sellerator, so you don't have to know what those words are or phrases, because it would take you a couple of years to figure all that stuff out. So that's the yes reflex. Wanted to cover that real quick. And so you want people to say yes throughout your webinar or workshop or hangout throughout the. Isn't that right, Yafat? Yes, isn't that right?
That is right. That is right.
Yes, it is.
What's really funny also? It's like sometimes we say yes, but our body language goes like yes, yes, with the head nodding. And so that's why I like when you're saying the nod reflex, because then it's like this way and not this way.
Yeah, so there's something really interesting, by the way, about when we do animated video sales letters, and I'm going to go off a little bit here. You see a lot of doodle art animation in video sales letters, but the script is what makes the money. So people ask me all the time, should I animate my video sales letter? It can cost you like 20 grand to animate a video sales letter, and the answer is yes, once you have words. But I've got a buddy of mine that makes $50 million a year from his video sales letter that doesn't have a single picture in the entire thing except the first frame. Not one picture, not a picture of the product, not a picture of the subjects, not a picture of, it's all text. And that's my ugly video sales letter formula. Works very, very well because the text is so persuasive. Now, if he animated that, would it make more money? Possibly. But he's doing so well, why try? So we animate some of our stuff to see if it works, and sometimes we'll get a bump on it, and sometimes we won't. But never, ever, ever before we get the copy to work, right? You want to get that copy to work for you. That's a very, very important thing. So that's just a little side note in case you're wondering about that. Now, the question is, on this live interactive workshop, how do you turn that into more money? Okay? Well, if you sold something on the front page that you got money, that's great. Even if you didn't, even if you use that mailing list to send out to a free gift and a free online workshop, you can sell the copy of the online workshop with the transcript and perhaps one additional bonus that's not included that they didn't know about for X, $27, $37, $47, $97. Depends on if you're, for example, there was a gentleman on yesterday as a doctor, and so his time is going to be worth, in perceived value, not necessarily literally, but in perceived value, worth more than, say, someone that's going to be talking about knitting, right? So whatever your market bears out, make that price, and you'll find that about 10 to 20% of the people on the workshop will give you that money. And presto, you have your first dollar online, more than dollars, hundreds of dollars, maybe thousands, and you've got a list, and you've got a product that you can continually sell over and over and over again. And you did it all with someone paying you to do it. And even if you don't make back your investment on that email list right away, that email drop, you'll certainly make it back quickly over time, and then you're in the black. And this is a technique that I teach a lot of people. It works very well, and it all depends, of course, if you have compelling copy on that opt-in page, compelling copy in your webinar, if your webinar has got really good content to it. And so we're going to be getting to compelling copy in days 6 through 10. So that's the trick. Now, the other trick that you can do is you can actually charge for the interactive workshop. So I've done this. We've charged $197 to be on a workshop, and we'd get like 10 people, right? So we'd basically make $2,000. But that was fine because the email drop cost us $1,000 or even $1,500. So we made $500. We got $2,000 from the workshop, and then after that workshop, we sold something else. So if you have a product already, that's another great way to do this. That's another great way to do this. I find email drops much easier to do than traffic. You don't have anything to figure out, for one thing, and second of all, it's very, very quick to do. So
you said another very important thing that we always think of like huge numbers. You know, we're like, oh, I need 1,000 people, 6,000 people, 10,000 people to make actually meaningful money. And you're right. All you need is 10 people paying you $200. And you made money. You made more than your first dollar online. So it's not in the numbers, it's in the quality of the people and whatever you're delivering. And then you also have the testimonials. Yesterday, Maureen had a problem with testimonials. You have testimonials from 10 people that you can take to your next thing. So yeah, you start from the small steps and then move on. Go ahead.
Exactly. So I'm going to go through the workshop. The workshop. We're on workshop here. I'm going to go through the worksheet really quickly here. So you're going to create a mini product. That's the blank, and sell it for $7 thereabouts. You're going to create a mini page, and the URL for that mini page, which I didn't give you, I gave you mine, but that's not a mini page. It's a long page. The URL for the mini page is simple. It's beautyoffood.com. beautyoffood.com. And this was a product that we wrote around the idea that you can use foods as cosmetics. You can use foods to make your face look younger, and a girl wrote a book around that, and we ended up monetizing that book for $7-ish, as you can see on the page. And then it has a back end, but it didn't always have a back end. So you don't need a back end if you're just trying to get your first money. You get your points on the board, as it says, and this is the best way to get your first win. Then under the second part is you get paid to deliver your content by renting an email list, and I suggest using excuse me, I've lost my link for what I suggested losing. Dedicatedemails.com. That's what I wanted to make sure that's what the URL was, but that is it. Dedicatedemails.com. Okay, that's who I suggest using. Send those people to an opt-in page, and on this page you're going to offer them a free bonus, free interactive workshop. Just write that all in there. Okay, you can use Google Plus, you can use GoToWebinar, you can use Webinar Jam, and you should use Lead Pages. Those are those blanks. Record it so it becomes your product. And tip is you always want to ask, does this make sense to you? How many people agree with this? Say yes. Get a lot of yeses throughout your live interactive workshop, and at the end of it you sell your product, or you sell the actual recording. You sell the recording. And listen, one last tip with that. Sell the recording and say, listen, if you buy this today, I'm going to toss in free of charge the transcript from all of this, and I'll get you the transcript within 7 days. And there are so many people that do transcripts. Our transcriptionist is very inexpensive. You can get people overseas to do this for just literally pennies on the dollar. So that's my steps to creating your break free. You will break free eventually once you do this. Just starting something low dollar, because once you get your first win, you got a list going on now. Now you can really do it well. Now all of this is contingent upon one thing, and I guarantee you by now you guys know what that one thing is. Sales copy. Without sales copy, it's not going to be persuasive. People won't click on the link. You need the sales copy. So that's why the prize today, open click buy, is going to be very important to get people to click on that email that you're renting, that list that you're renting. Then even more important than that is the page that they go to. You definitely want them to opt in, and you definitely want to have a sales page for this product eventually, because that's going to be your evergreen. Having a product online is like having a stock that never goes down in value. So just think of it that way. Having a $7 to $47 ebook or service like that, a very low-end service online, is like having a stock that just never goes down. There's no, stock market crashes or anything like that. It's sitting there making you money every single day. Some days it makes you nothing. Some days it makes you a little money. Some days it makes you a lot of money. But it never goes down in value. It's kind of free money after you do it. You have to put in the work to do it. You have to follow through. But once you do that, to me, it's the best way to supplement your income. Now, last thing I'll say is for people who are advanced, for people that already have, I already got a product, I already got a back end, I already got a funnel. Maybe you can use some of the tips I just gave you to create your next product. Again, I'm using this, so I'm as advanced as you get, and I use this just for the very same page that Yafat put up for my upsell formula. Because I'm going to make that product bigger, better, much more succinct. It was a video recording of literally a Word document that I was going through 20 steps in a Word document, saying these 20 steps is exactly what I do to create an upsell, and that was it. We created a product that quickly because it was being filmed as a part of a larger product. But I thought, you know what? I want to give more than that. I want to actually tell people how I figure out what's an upsell, what's a good upsell product. I want to talk to them about what doesn't work, what you should avoid at all costs as upsells. And so I came up with the idea to do a 2-hour workshop, record the product, and there you go. There's my evergreen product that will go on sale for $497 versus $197. So I use this myself. I hope that you guys got a lot of value out of this content, and we're going to open it up to questions at this point.
Yes, and guys, refresh the page right now. The link to join the Hangout is open. We're going to take your questions as a first come, first serve basis. And also, actually, just to strengthen everything that you just said, I know Eben Pagan and myself included. I'm putting myself with Eben in the same category. How awesome is that? But
I do all the time. Just keep up.
Right. So, but it's some people, myself, I find it that it's very difficult for me to just sit down and create products. What Evan is really great at is teaching in live events. So what he does, he puts a live event, create awesome content that he really wants to deliver, records that, and that's your product. So exactly what you were saying right now, teach a few people, record your teaching, and that's your product. You don't need to rent a room, do the whole event thing, that's later on. But for the beginning, create a product by teaching people how, whatever it is that you want to do.
So one question I can guarantee is going to come up is like, what's the value of that? And I can tell you right now that that I sell the highest dollar product that I sell other than my mastermind product is a copywriting certification program. And we charged $10,000 to go through the course, then another $10,000 from work that they would get, so $20,000 total. We stopped the work they can get because we have enough work to supply the guys that went through it. However, the course is $10,000 to go through. That's a very expensive course, but it's for copywriters that want to take their copywriting to the next level. Well, here's what's interesting, is we recorded all 4 days of that, and it was 4 days, like 12, 14-hour days. It was just a plethora of content, and my wife was involved in it, where she was teaching systems, and we were doing like yoga stretches before each segment. It's all on video, and what I decided to do was, hey, look, I'm gonna sell the video, and I'm never gonna sell it for under what the value was worth. So it's worth $5,000 or $10,000 if you want my personal time in that. And so that's what we're selling it for, and people buy that because it's so valuable. So I was talking to my production manager, and I said, I really kind of want to just redo that because it's 2 cameras, and it's us in a room full of 25 people, and I'm talking, and it's a screen, and it's done well, don't get me wrong, but maybe I could make it more succinct where there's less like interplay like we're doing now, and there's less uhs, and there's more, like smoother. And he's like, no, man, half the value is actually seeing you interact and getting that feeling like I was really there. And then I remembered that 7 of our 25 people attended virtual, or 20 people rather, attended virtual. They weren't even in the room. So they got a tremendous amount of value out of it. So guys, don't fear that you're recording a product and, people won't buy it. No, they will buy it. And if you ever you can discount it. You can say, since you weren't here, they paid, say, $1,000 for it, I'll charge you $497 since you weren't here. And for this particular course, I made the promise to them I wouldn't ever sell it for less than what they paid for it. So that's still true, with the exception of people who don't want my personal time. That's the only exception to that. But the point is that that's a $5,000 to $10,000 product that was made just by guys doing video and then editing the videos for literally months afterwards because of the volume of the video. So yes, you can do this. So Yafat, I'm open to questions about this, about anything you want to come on and talk to me about. But here's my request: when you come on, mute your volume so that we don't hear me a minute ago. I like time travel, but I'm in the future, so don't come on, mute your volume. Cool.
There you go. So before we, I see people joining in to the Hangout. Guys, if you want, in the Hangout, there's still room to refresh the page. The button below the video that says Join the Hangout, click that, and you can come in. There are a few questions in the comments. One of them is from Judy, and she says, I put up a sales page, but I can't put on keywords like I can with WordPress site. I was told I have to do paid advertising to get people there. What are my other options to get traffic? So this is more of a yesterday question. Or do you have to pay someone to code a WordPress site for me?
None of my sites except for this one is a WordPress site, so I don't really know why WordPress would have any relevance to it. The pages that we send very, very high volume traffic to are certainly not WordPress sites. In fact, WordPress is notoriously bad, in my opinion, as far as getting high traffic sites. They're just HTML, CSS, typical coded sites. So you can obviously you can pay for traffic, but keywords have nothing to do with paid traffic. I mean, so I can have no SEO whatsoever on a page, none at all, and drive a plethora of traffic to it. And if I have a killer video sales letter, it's going to make money. So that has nothing to do with it. So if I'm not a WordPress guy at all, so that might be something that's just simply out of my domain. But one thing that you might want to consider doing is first of all, exactly what we talked about today, rent a list and drive traffic that way. Again, you don't need keywords to rent the list. You ignore all the Google stuff at that point. That's what I would try. So listen to yesterday, and then try out today's tips and see if that helps you. Okay.
Another question from, I think it's Ela. What I really need to think about is something unique to sell supplementary on my sci-fi movie website. Links to Amazon.com and other bookshops for DVDs and books isn't unique enough to separate myself from all the others. What advice can we give her for supplementing her sci-fi movie?
Okay, well, this one's good because my wife and I are both huge sci-fi freaks. So, in fact, in college, I started a very bizarre social club. It was a social club for guys who love Star Trek but bench press 300 pounds. So that was the only, you have to do both. There was 3 of us in the whole club. So, so it was like not exactly the most popular social club on campus. But so, yeah. So, just bear in mind that most sci-fi guys and girls are very cliquish, and they love the fact that they're involved in a very misunderstood clique. So you might want to consider like putting a bonus to get some sort of report together, like 30 places where sci-fi freaks go to, and where they hang out, and or just different ways you can. I just think of like 3 or 4 ideas as far as like what do sci-fi people love to do. Well, obviously they love to watch sci-fi, right? They love to watch that. So what's involved with watching sci-fi? Well, maybe you can say, like, the top 10 things you need before you watch your next sci-fi group. Like if before you have a group party and you watch whatever you're watching, Logan's Run to Star Wars or whatever, you need these 10 things in your living room before you watch it. I mean, simple little things like that would just be like, a no-brainer. If you're looking for a free report, if you're looking to sell something, then that's a different story. I don't know if you're looking to sell something or not, but if you're looking to sell something, you need to find something that is somewhat unique in that genre. Something to the effect of, like, I mean, just think about this. Like, if you could find get a lot of, remember, this is like a domain, so you get like a common domain kind of stuff. You might be able to find like like old sci-fi writers, scripts, dictionaries, or diaries rather, or some sort of a book that's like past the common, the law. I forget what they call it, those kind of books. But so you might want to, maybe you get 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea or whatever, and you make a compilation of these, and you just say, hey, I'll give it to you because I made it easy for you. I put it all into a pretty document and give it to you for $7. So that's something you might want to consider looking at that.
Hey, Bahimi, I love seeing you here every day, girl. This is so cool. We can hear you.
Hi.
Okay, hi.
Hi, how are you?
Yeah, I'm doing great. I just love this. Just love this. Thank you. So I have a number of questions. So much is like getting stimulated. So when I do a sales page, it's an extension from the WordPress site. So I have the URL, then /, then the name of the offer. So what are you using? How do you create yours if you don't? I mean, I never even thought about what else to do it. It's always just been that. So what do you do?
I have a programming team, so I don't know. Just to be honest with you, so we code everything from scratch, and it's easier for us to write HTML and CSS and just that language. We code in .NET. Most people code in PHP. So a lot of the high-end sites are PHP or .NET. We like .NET because it's cleaner. But that's not to say that WordPress can't be a sales page, because it certainly can. It's just if you're sending 200,000 hits to it a day, that's what I'm talking about. Then it's going to bomb. It's not going to be able to handle that kind of volume, at least in our experience. So, but if you're not sending that kind of traffic, then sure, just knock yourself out with WordPress. But traffic, in that case, if you're wanting organic traffic, then yes, SEO and all those kind of the tags, keywords, those are very important things. And in fact, actually, you would probably know more about this than I would, because that's just not what I do. So that's not my domain. What do you say? What say you?
About using WordPress to sell your product?
Yes. Well, what it is it's like you have to create a URL up there for the page, right?
Well, you can create any URL you want for anything, whether it's WordPress or HTML. It doesn't matter.
This is probably.
I'm lost about the question. The question is what type of URL?
So I put the name of the website / then the name of the sales letter, whatever the program is, and that's how it is accessed by the broadcast. What I do is I send out a broadcast on Aweber. It gives them a teaser, and then it sends them to that page.
Okay.
So I don't know if that's the best way to do it.
Yeah, that's the best way to do it. Yeah, absolutely. So again, the most important thing about that page is, how is your copy on that page? That's the most important thing. So let me give you one example of how important that is. Marketing Sherpa, if you guys don't know what that is, just write it down and Google it later. They analyze tons of marketing stuff. Found that headlines can make a 500% difference in conversions, just changing your headline. So imagine if just a headline can do that. Imagine what the rest of your copy is going to be able to do for conversions. So people underestimate, I almost said misunderestimate and imitated George Bush. I'm sorry about that. Underestimate the power of copy, the power of the words on the page. And man, I'll tell you, even like a bigger spread when people go from a sales page to a video sales letter. I mean, not all the time. I believe in both, by the way. Let me just make that very, very clear. But video sales letters, by all means. I mean, I can't wait to do a video sales letter for the page I just put up. video sales letters tend to crush sales pages. But you need both, because some people might not be able to watch a video sales letter. They might be at work, and so when they hit the site, you window out and go, oh, would you like to read, this page, and you send them to a sales letter that does the same thing. But that's the most important thing you can do. It's how you're doing it is perfectly fine. It's just the words on the page that needs to be looked at. So stick around for days 6 through 10. So.
All right. Can I ask one other question?
Sure.
Okay. So you've mentioned like using little short YouTubes and putting content underneath there, so that's a strategy. Then there's the video sales letter, and then there's the sale page. Do these things follow a sequence, or do you use them all together? Are you seeding with the YouTube? And I'm just kind of curious how to.
Yeah, that's a great question, and a lot of people ask me this question in terms of Facebook. So let's just look at this in terms of Facebook. Facebook, a lot of guys were originally saying, I send people from a Facebook ad to a survey to a free series of videos, then my video sales letter, etc. And almost invariably, I get people saying, I just put a Facebook ad up and it goes right to my video sales letter and it just kills it. I don't have an opt-in, I don't have anything. So I find that to be true myself, that 9 times out of 10 is the way to go. So I would do that first, send people directly to a video sales letter. After that, I would send them to a sales page, and then after that, I would send them to free videos. Now, the only time I would reverse that order, the only time, if it's a high-dollar product and people don't know you. So this is where Jeff Walker's product launch comes in really, really handy. Jeff and I are good friends, and I'm very fortunate that we talk the talk on the internet is true, that he and I, his product and my product are very much married at the hip. I mean, most people have both, because his product doesn't deal with copy and my product doesn't deal with product launches. So he needs copy, I need product launches. So that's great for a higher end product. A product launch would be ridiculous for a $7 ebook. It'd be ridiculous for a $47 ebook. But for a higher dollar product, that's a time where you'd want to send people to a video, give them lots of free value, very much like we're doing here. Very much like we're doing here, where there's a lot of free value given. I mean, way overkill. Even on Jeff Walker's, way overkill the free value. Then you talk about sending people directly to offers, because people have gotten to know you at this point, and they can see you, they can interact. And I personally, and I'll say this, and then I wish we didn't have to move on, because I really love talking to you. You can come on all the time, but we got several other people coming in here. The thing that I find very intriguing about Google Hangouts is the interaction, exactly what we're doing here, versus what Jeff does. And I know that Jeff does Hangouts now, but the Hangouts just weren't around when Product Launch was created, and as opposed to people watching on video. So I've made a fortune not having anything on video but text. In other words, all you see is just words on the screen. Like I was saying, my buddy that makes $50 million a year from his video sales letter, because he's got the #1 offer in his market and he sends lots of traffic to it. So don't think that you can just throw that up there and boom, you're going to make $50 million a year. He works at it, but it was actually right out of Sellerator. The copy just comes right out of the formula inside Sellerator. And the cool thing about that is, like I said, there's no graphics at all, except for that one graphic at the very first of the page. I mean, there's very little in there except words on a screen. So both of these models work. The differential is how much is the product value. So when you're selling something like he is for $67, this video sales letter is going to crush it every single time. If you're selling something for $1,067, you might want to consider the preempt videos like this, get to know the audience, and then send them to the offer.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Good to see you again.
Yeah.
So Benedict, you were next. I'm muting you. Go ahead.
Okay, John, can you hear me?
Yeah. Hey, Benedict, how you doing?
Oh, cool. Hey, John, I was on your mastermind call the other day, and I pressed the raise your hand sign, and I would like, oh no, and
I remember.
I need to share this with folks, is that the copywriting is so important, and I'm finally beginning to grasp it after years and years and years of struggling with it, going through John Walker's course, all of this stuff, Jeff Walker, and really honing it in. And I see a lot of comments down in the thing talking about, the Tripwire stuff, and the Tripwire is so important. I mean, it's shifted my business dramatically, and I'm like, oh no, I don't want to do this. It's like, it feels like a scam, but really it got people into the sales process. and it allowed them the chance or the opportunity to commit some funds towards me for my product, and it's turned from $7 and $17 tripwires into sometimes $1,000 coaching just from one $7 tripwire. And it's like, people need to realize that, it's like, this is really, really works. And I really admire you for all that you've done and all that you're sharing. It's immense value. I don't really have a question as such, other than because of this and because of all of this teaching that you and other guys are giving out, it's really shifted my whole business dramatically. In fact, last Christmas I went like berserk. In fact, I'm still trying to catch up with all the orders. And
Great.
so
Yeah.
everybody listening to this, really, listen up to what Jon is saying. It really, really works.
Thank you so much, Benedict. And congratulations on that. That's awesome. One of the best things about what we do is we hear from folks like Benedict all the time, and it's from startups to guys that started with millions, now they're making tens of millions. And so I hear that literally every day, and we screen capture it on Facebook, or we get somebody to call us, or we get somebody to email us, or whatever. And it's one of the. It never gets old. It never ever gets old, because it's the reason why you do what you do, because it's perfectly okay to make money. But I do what I do because I really do love what I teach, and I really do love to help other people. And making the money is naturally going to come from that. Very much like every wealth guru has ever said, if you do what you love and you do what you're good at, your money's going to follow. So I do want to touch base on one thing before we move on to the next question. Benedict mentioned something that there was some point in your mind, maybe, or some people may be thinking this, like that it's kind of a cheesy, or it's kind of a bait and switch, or it's kind of no. Now let me just really make this clear. The word tripwire, or word tripwire, is not a good word. I don't like it. That's what it's called, but it has the assumption that you're tripping into a landmine field or whatever, and that's not at all what it really is. What for me, what it really is to say, look, trust me with this, and if you buy from here, obviously you want to do the marketing savvy thing and say, okay, if you bought this, then you may also want that. But it's a trust build mechanism. Now I know marketers that sell their tripwire and don't sell anything else until like 3 days later, and say, hey, now that you've had time to look at this, they lose sales, but they gain raving fans, because they have time to see their product and go, wow, this guy or girl really knows his or her stuff. Myself, I mean, I've fortunately built a good reputation, so I don't necessarily have to do that, but other people may want to consider it. But don't consider your tripwire as something as unethical or cheesy, because it's not.
I don't know what a tripwire is.
Tripwire is the initial product that people buy. A $7 product that we've been talking about is called a tripwire in the business, because you're saying get the $7 product, then get a $47 sale, then get a $197 sale, and that's a funnel. And funnels are all the rage now. I don't know why they became all the rage, because we've been doing them since the internet. But nonetheless, they are the rage. So upsells, for example. There's nothing wrong at all with upsells, as long as, and you guys really, I wish you guys could just, whoever's got a product, you may want to go to the upsell forum, because I teach this stuff, but I'm going to be real brief with it. You need to have upsells that are complementary, that accelerate, that complement, that don't compete. You don't want competitive upsells. The worst upsell ever is, for example, you get a $7 tripwire that says, hey, get my fat burning, I'm going to make this up, you get my instant fat burning course, and it's for $7, and they buy it, and they go, hey, how would you like the full instant fat burning course? It's the full one. It's like, man, that's the worst. I mean, because they just should have bought the first one. They have no use for the first one now. They should have just bought the second one, rather. So your second upsell, your first upsell should complement that. Like, hey, how would you like that rapid fat burning plan to go even faster? Well, I've got this smoothie recipe set that I can send you, and I'll actually teach you how to make smoothies. So it's a different feel of the product and stuff like that. And people can make the argument that they should all be put together originally, but I think that it's giving someone something bite-sized to take advantage of. It makes the marketing easier, so you don't have 19 bullets that you have to worry about. You only have a few. It makes the first sale easier. $7, hey, I can do that. And guarantee your stuff. I mean, what's great about ClickBank, by the way, is I keep coming back to ClickBank. I've been with them 11 years for the lower dollar products that we do, because we never have to mess with refunds. We never have to mess with it. If someone wants a refund, they can literally email ClickBank directly and get it, or they can email our support and give it to us for whatever reason they want a refund. So no one ever says, oh, I didn't get a refund from these guys. So We've never had a problem with that. Our refund rates are pretty low. And in fact, our CFO wants our refund rates to double. he often says, your refund rates are too low. We want them to double. It means you're not selling hard enough. I go, dude, there's no way you can sell us. I'm very aggressive. There's no way. Maybe our products just kick ass, and maybe that's the reason why. But anyway, thanks for the call, Benedict. I really appreciate it, man. So.
We are right on time, so perfect. We have just Felipe, and then we'll end on time today, I hope. So, Felipe, you are unmuted.
Yes. Hi, John. This is first off. I want to.
I can see you talking, but I can't hear you.
Oh.
Oh, I can hear him.
Okay.
Yeah, go for it.
How about now? Can anybody hear me? Testing.
Yeah, I hear him. John, you don't hear him?
Nope.
Try
That's weird.
Now. Yeah. Felipe, go for it.
Hello. Hello.
Hey, there you are. I can see you and hear you. How?
Awesome.
So first of all, which one of you is Felipe? I'm kidding.
Oh, that hurt.
I'm totally kidding. I can tell the beautiful one is definitely not. Okay, so yeah, let's go on.
I want to thank you for, first of all, because I'm a little awestruck at the moment to have a pioneer such as yourself take time out to talk to us. But to get to my question, my wife, I'm Philippe. That's Amanda.
Hi, Amanda.
She's a traditional Chinese medicine doctor, and she's developed a line of supplements based on her Chinese medicine, specifically for adrenal fatigue. Now, whether or not that rings a bell, I don't know, but basically, it's about burnout. And we're thinking, because adrenal fatigue is such a specific word, or perhaps, a niche, it may not resonate with a lot of people. It may go over a lot of people's heads. So we're thinking maybe we should target more burnouts. And since your background is health, we're wondering what your feedback would be in terms of how should we best approach from a bird's eye view, because I understand there's a lot that's going to go into this. From a bird's eye view, what would be your recommendation?
Wow. Well, first of all, thank you so much for doing the work that you do. Just because for someone that's been through adrenal fatigue, and my wife has had to watch me suffer through that. I've had hormonal hell since I was 27 years old. I blew out my pituitary gland in a high fever, so my hormones have been the subject of much conversation. I'll put it that way. So got them under control now, but some of the stuff we can't do naturally because there's just the access is I'm talking to a doctor, but you know that the pituitary axis is messed up. But with adrenals, it isn't so messed up. So we went through the same thing, and we used some traditional medication. And my doctor is both an MD and a Chinese doctor, so it's very interesting. He's got degrees in both, or background in both. So I can speak very expertly on this topic. The angle in what it does is two different things. So again, let's go back to day one where we talk about a hook. The hook is, are you tired? That's not a good hook, but you get the idea. Around the subject, are you tired? Are you fatigued all the time? Do you come home at work and don't have enough energy to play with the kids? The cause of that may very well be something called adrenal fatigue. So we've developed a supplement for that. So I think that what happens is when you have an expert like yourself, it's only natural to say, hey, are you suffering from adrenal fatigue? And people go, I don't even know what that is. So, but if you say, are you suffering from being tired all the time, especially at the middle part of the day and when you get home at night? So everybody goes, yeah, that's me. It's like a lot of people may believe that when you're tired like that, it's because of blank, blank, blank. But in reality, it's often because of blank. And then you can make the case for adrenal fatigue and say, and even if your adrenals aren't quite fatigued, they tend to fatigue. I would build this sales letter in a heartbeat because as you age, adrenal fatigue, as you know, increases because the adrenal glands, like any other gland in the body, can be worn out. And if these wear out, as you know, once the adrenals go, your fat burning is toast, your thyroid is toast, everything else is toast because your thyroid's trying to take control of that adrenal stuff. So sorry guys for the biology lesson here. I'm sure she's going to know a lot more about it than I am. But yeah, so that's a very important thing that you're doing, but the hook needs to be around, I'm just tired all the time. Because that's something everyone on this call can relate to. I'm tired all the time. And as you know, doctor, that there's a ton of people that have that as an undiagnosed illness, and they're not the blood tests aren't very, very good for that at all. So
a lot of people misconstrue that as depression.
Yeah. Yeah, and so now that's a huge, and that you got to walk a fine line there because ingestibles, as you know, once you make a medical claim like I can do something about depression, depression is a medical term. So when we have a supplement that we know that helps depression, we'll use the term like, you know, are you suffering from the occasional blues? You know, and we'll use euphemisms like that. You know, is your mood just not what it used to be? You know, those kind of things. So those are not. You have to be very careful. We always get with an FTC attorney when we're saying things like that because I've had a friend of mine actually went to jail for this, and he had a good supplement that not for that particular thing, but had a good supplement for what he was doing, and he made the mistake of saying this supplement does something about a medical condition, and they wanted to make an example of him. So. Be very cautious with that. So, but yeah, but the hook is really energy, I think, because energy
is that Kevin Trudeau?
No, it's definitely not Gary. He was never a friend of mine, never will be. So, yeah. So
I have a quick question. Now, would you suggest us to do like an information package first, and before we kind of sell the actual core package, or would you? Because I just find that. People need to have that trust there when it comes to something that is so personal, and sometimes a lot of people don't talk about it too. So would it be something kind of like you know, a case study or something along the line that the lower price value, just to kind of get people in the door?
The Tripwire.
Yeah. Yeah, you could definitely do a Tripwire where it's a very low dollar thing that's not necessarily a case study, but it's like just maybe a manual. Find out if you have a questionnaire. Find out if you have adrenal fatigue, and I'll give you inside the questionnaire. I'll give you the herbs that we recommend, and of course those herbs or go back to your product. So that would work. But this is what I would do. I would follow my friends Joel and Josh that I mentioned yesterday, own one of the largest supplement companies in the world, and they send people directly to video sales letters. And I mean, I know because I've written them. And they work extremely well. And these are things that are they don't deal with adrenal fatigue, but they deal with other things that they're equally, you know, like things you want to build trust. And part of the video sales letter formula is to build that rapport. Fortunately, you have the term doctor, which really helps. But once you build the rapport, and if you can say, which we'll talk about on day 7, the vital connection thing. When we talk about that, you'll see that when you build the rapport, saying if you have experienced this yourself, or if your husband has experienced it yourself, that's even better. I mean, from a marketing point of view, you say, look, like I had to watch my husband go through this living hell, and this is the story that went behind it. You're going to build rapport, and that's much more important than building, in my opinion, even building credential, because your credential is kind of built in with doctor. So at that point, you just have to say there is a problem that you're not aware of. It's called adrenal fatigue. There's herbs that you can do that are far safer than the drugs that they give you. You don't want to, you know, Cortev or whatever they're going to prescribe for. And then this is going to give you what's it going to do for you? It's going to give you back your life. It's going to do those kind of things. So stick around for the last days because we'll be covering some steps that you probably want to take with that. But that's what I would do, and then exit out to a free report. And the other thing, just if you go to biotrust.com, you'll see how they do things. They give away a report that is complementary to the supplement that they use. So, for example, for a fat-burning supplement, they'll give away the 10 worst foods for fat burning as a report, and it's an extremely good combination of things to give away a report with the product. So that's what I would do before I would try anything else. Just go right for the video.
Great. Right? Thank you so much, John, and thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you.
So, guys, we are right on the. We are actually a little bit late, and. We did not get any great suggestions for how to win John's awesome book, Open Click Buy. So maybe this was just, you know, something you need to think about. We'll leave it for tomorrow. If you have any great suggestions and ideas, maybe you can win that book tomorrow. People are trying to buy it in the comments. No, we want to give you one.
I have an idea. Now, we will post a link to buy it later, but we're going to give away to one person. But here's my idea that I just came up with. And suggestions, send it to me. So somebody just said, hey, good suggestion. What I suggest that we do is in the comments, just share. UFAT will tell you how to do this. Share, pass it around. But just write a short blurb about why you think the book would help you. Why is email important to you? Why do you think that having an email pro that's done, you know, a lot of money through email would be, having a book written by that guy would be helpful for you? So, and the guy or girl that writes the coolest, you know, answer on why they think they want it, that's who we'll give it to.
Perfect. I love it. So you guys have homework for tomorrow. Actually, you have 4 days of homeworks because you want to get to day 6 when we start actually going, breaking down the sales letter. You want to have something that you're writing for. So we'll see you tomorrow, same time, 11 a.m. Pacific, 1 a.m. Central, 2 p.m. Eastern. Hopefully, Ifat will not have any internet problems then. And we'll watch the hangout.
Right.
Thank you, guys. Thanks, John, again.
Thank you, guys. Have a great rest of the week, and we'll see you tomorrow.